If you're a brand marketer, you need to study Stanley Cups.
There's a cup. It's a cup brand that's been around for 100 years.
Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cups.
Stanley Quencher Cup. The Stanley Quencher.
I got a Stanley!
Because some of the stats are pretty mind-blowing. 6 billion views on TikTok. Customers waiting in line outside Target and Walmart for new drops. People flipping colorways for thousands of dollars on eBay. But here's the craziest one for me. In 3 years, Stanley Cups grew from 70 million in revenue to 750 million. A 10x revenue growth on an insulated thermos cup. It's wild. So I went deep down the rabbit hole to find out exactly how they did it. Because this is nothing short of a cult movement. And if you're running a brand, that's exactly what you're after as well. All right, before I get into it, make sure to subscribe if you're a creator, entrepreneur, or brand marketer. My videos are designed to dissect the cult brands of our era and figure out exactly what formulas they used to win. Okay, without further ado, let's dive in. So Stanley's playbook is actually relatively simple. In interviews with the CEO, you can see in his face, he looks kind of shocked, almost like he had no idea that this was possible. But from my view, Stanley Cups did two things amazingly well, which helped foster this cult movement. And those two things are product priming and opportunistic virality. I'm gonna break down each one separately, but they go hand in hand. Product priming is when you design products specifically to be shared more often on social media. Imagine a normal stainless steel thermos. This is what Stanley was for decades. But if you compare and contrast that design with what they're doing now, you'll notice a few really important differences. First, they made all of their cups pastel colors. This makes them aesthetically pleasing to have around the house. It's almost like a decor item instead of some nuisance junk water bottle that needs to be put away. Second, they custom designed the bottom part of the cup to fit in normal car cup holders. Previously to Stanley innovating this design, large water bottle containers like this, they didn't fit into car cup holders. Now, why is this important? If the cup is in the cup holder, it can become a feature for content that people are filming of themselves in the car. If it doesn't fit in the cup holder, it's gonna be tucked away in some gym bag, out of sight, out of mind. Your goal as a product designer in this era is to prime your products so that they're good for user-generated content. Now, as a product builder or brand marketer, it probably sounds kind of silly to spend any time focusing on how the product's gonna look on social media versus the actual utility or value that it brings. But that couldn't be further from the truth in this era. Our world has evolved to be very simple. If people with influence make content about your product, you're gonna win. If people with influence don't make content about your product, you're gonna lose. Now, paid ads can help augment this for certain categories, but it's in your best interest to design products so that people make more content about them. And the easiest way to do this is through aesthetic design. This means using comfortable materials, sleek materials, on-trend home decor aesthetics, using the trends that people want to include in their content. Studying how creators are showing up and what they like to post about is extremely valuable, and that's what Stanley Cups were really good at. So that's product priming. And that's what Stanley did. They changed the color and design choice. They sent 5,000 of their new cups to mom bloggers, and the rest was history. The bloggers created content and blew up Stanley Cups from there. After that, they used influencer collaborations to create custom pastel colors with influencers, which gives it even more of a tailwind. All of these things combine to map to drive more content more often from more fans. That's the key. The second thing Stanley did, which I think is a huge piece of this, is opportunistic virality. Let me explain what that means. As a brand, the dream is for your customers to create content about your products without you having to ask or pay for it. And as you grow the cult, this will happen more and more. But every once in a while, there comes a moment where you can use someone else's organic content as jet fuel for your brand story. Stanley Cups had one of these moments in November 2023. This video shows a Stanley Cup in a car of a customer's that was set on fire. After the fire was put out, the customer reaches in the car and she's filming and everything is charred and burnt, and she reaches to grab out of the cup holder her Stanley Cup, which is still intact with ice water still in it. That's how good the insulation is. Now, of course, that video went nuclear on its own, a true gift from the content gods. Most brands would sit back and just rejoice that they were able to get a gift like that. But Stanley went on offense, and that's where opportunistic virality comes in. The Stanley CEO immediately made a response video duetting the original reaching into the burnt car and offered to buy a new car for the customer. This response, of course, drove billions of additional impressions for Stanley, something that money just couldn't buy in that positive of a light. And that's opportunistic virality. When you have a chance to make a splash on some content that's already going viral, you should do it. It's honestly smart to have someone on your content team seeking these opportunities out and trying to inject themselves in there. Another funny example of this is this Instagram user Davis Clark, who's really blown up for his intensity, running, and kind of grit content. He has 700,000 followers. He's gone viral so many times making these types of videos. He was running the Boston Marathon and filmed a video of himself at the end, we'll say having a restroom accident during the race. That's all I'm gonna say. You can watch the video in the link if you wanna see what happened. In that video, it goes super viral and brands are jumping into the comment. Dude Wipes jumps in. It has like 35,000 likes jumping in saying we're sending Dude Wipes. That's opportunistic virality. It's easier to jump into conversations that are already happening than to try to start fire on your own every single time. So the combination of these two tactics, product priming and opportunistic virality, were huge tailwinds in Stanley Cups becoming a cult brand. And once they become a cult brand, the ball starts rolling downhill and there's nothing that anyone can do to stop it. This is why they grew from 70 million to 750 million in 3 years. And as a brand marketer, that's the dream state. You just want to do everything you can to try to tip the scales of cult fandom in your favor. So hopefully you found that helpful. That's it for this video. Remember, if you like that, leave a like, comment, make sure to subscribe if you're a brand marketer, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.